What if I gave you tips so that you could study faster, remember more, and still have time to watch your favorite show? Skip these tips, and you'll stay stuck in that endless loop of cramming only to get disappointing grades. So stick around, because trust me, the final tip is the one that separates the top students from everyone else. Tip 1. Trick your brain into studying. Your brain is lazy. If you give yourself 3 hours to study, it'll take 3 hours, mostly filled with distractions. This is called Parkinson's Law. Work expands to fill the time you allow for it. So here's the fix. Instead of saying, I have to study for hours, tell yourself, I'll just do 20 minutes. Your brain stops resisting because 20 minutes feels easy. And once you start, you'll probably keep going. Tip 2. Learn like a genius. Einstein once said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So if you really want to learn fast, try teaching it. Here's how. First, pretend you're explaining a topic to a 5-year-old. No fancy words, keep it simple. Then, notice where you get stuck. That's what you need to relearn. Finally, simplify it even more. When you do this, you're not just memorizing, you're understanding. Tip 3, stop rereading, start testing. Want to remember things twice as fast? This method is scientifically proven to burn information into your brain. Stop passively rereading your notes. Instead, use active recall. Close your book and try to recall key points from memory. Instead of copying notes, write them down without looking. You could also use flashcards, but test yourself instead of just reading them. Tip 4, the timer trick for instant focus. Ever notice how you suddenly become super focused right before a deadline? That's because urgency creates focus, and you can use this to your advantage. Here's how. Set a 30-minute timer. Study like it's an emergency. Take a 5-minute break. Move around, stretch, or scroll your phone. Guilt-free. Repeat. Why does this work? Short study sessions prevent burnout. Also, your brain stays focused because it knows a break is coming. At the same time, you avoid fake studying, just staring at notes without actually learning. Tip 5. Work smarter, not harder. Stop wasting time. Not everything you study is equally important. Some things matter way more than others. That's why you need the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from just 20% of what you study. So stop focusing too much on the tiny details. Instead, ask yourself, what will actually be on the test? Check past exams or ask your teacher. What don't I understand yet? If you already know something, move on. A hack from an A+ student? Start with a practice test before you even study. That way, you instantly see which topics come up the most. And that's where you should focus 80% of your time. Tip 6. The real shortcut to better learning. You can use every single study hack invented, but if your brain can't process the information properly, it'll disappear just as fast as it came. And that's the huge mistake most students make. They focus only on what they study, but not on how their brain processes it. The thing is, your brain doesn't store information while you're studying. It locks it in while you sleep. So what does this mean? Pulling all-nighters before a test? Bad idea. You'll retain way less. Getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep? That's when your brain actually files everything away for long-term memory. But sleep isn't the only way your brain processes information. Exercise plays a huge role too. Even a short walk can give your memory a serious boost. Once you get all of this right, you won't just learn faster, you'll actually remember it all. Tip 7. Make it visual. Words are slippery. Your brain loves pictures way more than paragraphs. Here's why. Your brain processes images 60,000 times faster than text. So next time you study, don't just read, visualize. Turn boring lists into colorful mind maps. Draw little doodles that represent concepts. Even just imagining a scene in your mind while you learn makes the information stick better. When you see it, you remember it. Tip 8. Unlock hidden memory power with interleaving. Most people study one topic over and over. It feels easy, but that's a trap. Real learning happens when you mix things up. This is called interleaving. Here's how it works. Instead of practicing just one type of math problem 20 times, do 5 of each kind. Instead of reading one history chapter straight through, jump between a few topics. At first, it feels harder, and that's a good sign. It forces your brain to work harder. And that's how you lock knowledge in for real. Tip 9, chunk it up. Your brain can only hold about 7 pieces of information at once. That's it. Trying to remember everything at once? Instant overload. Here's the fix. Break information into chunks of group-related facts together. For example, instead of memorizing 10 random dates separately, group them into 3 major events. Or in language learning, instead of memorizing single words, memorize useful phrases. Chunks are easier to remember, and they build on each other like Lego blocks. Tip 10, talk to yourself. Want a study trick that feels weird but works? Talk out loud. It's called self-explanation, and it boosts learning way more than silent studying. Here's how. After reading a page, close the book and say out loud what you just learned. Explain it like you're teaching an invisible classroom. If you can't explain it clearly, that's a sign you need to review. Hearing your own words forces your brain to organize the information, and that's where the real learning happens. Tip 11. Master the 2-minute bedtime review. You're missing a huge opportunity if you go to bed without a quick review. Here's the move. Right before sleep, spend just 2 minutes recalling what you studied that day. Close your eyes and mentally walk through the key points. No notes, no distractions, just you and your memory. Why does this work? Your brain processes memories during sleep, and whatever you review right before bed gets VIP treatment. It's one of the fastest, easiest ways to supercharge your learning without doing anything extra the next day. Before you go, here's your quick cheat sheet for everything we covered. Tip 1. Trick your brain. Promise just 20 minutes to start. Tip 2. Teach it simply. If you can't explain it, you don't really get it. Tip 3. Test yourself. Don't reread. Active recall wins. Tip 4. Use timers. Urgency equals instant focus. Tip 5. Focus on the 20% that matters most. Tip 6. Sleep and exercise. Your brain upgrades itself when you rest and move. Tip 7. Make it visual. Turn words into pictures. Tip 8. Mix topics. Interleaving makes you smarter, even if it feels harder. Tip 9. Chunk information. Group it so your brain can handle more. Tip 10. Talk out loud. Explain it in your own words. Tip 11. Quick bedtime review. Lock it into memory right before you sleep. If you learned even one new trick today, imagine what happens when you use all of them. Which tip are you going to try first? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear. And if you want more brain hacks like these, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell.